if we need to hit anything for the recording, but I don't think we do. So, hi Lee, welcome. This is Sherri Thomas, and we are in the PM Power. This is a brand new show for us. We we between the two of us, Lee Lambert and I have a lot of different experience and expertise in project management. We've both talked all over the world at conferences and events on project management, program management, team leadership, career tips. And we thought, let's just pool all of our knowledge and pick a particular topic every Tuesday and then just give the best of our best advice possible. So that's what this is. We are PM Power. We are here every Tuesday, two coaches for 30 minutes. So let me welcome Lee Lambert. How are you today, Lee?
I'm fine, Sherri. Good to be here. I'm glad to see we finally get to do this. We've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. So if it's okay, let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and jump into this. So to help everybody understand a little bit about what we're doing in the format is our topic today is how to identify and land job opportunities. And Lee and I are just going to give you a few different tips, but we're going to give you the best of the best tips. And so what we're going to do is Lee and I are going to go, you know, pretty hard on a couple of different strategies for you. And then for 30 minutes, we're going to do that. And then after that, then we're going to open it up for a couple of different questions. We're not going to be here a whole lot longer for questions, but we will open it up for chat. So if you have a question, feel free to ask it in the chat box. And we also want you to know that this call is being recorded. And so we will be sending out the link later today or tomorrow. So if there's part of it you missed or part of it you want to watch again, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get into, I always say that finding a job, whether you spend 10 hours a week, whether you spend 20 hours a week, whether you spend 10 minutes a day, it doesn't matter. But your energy and your effort in finding a job is kind of like if you created a pie chart for yourself and then thinking about the percentage of time and effort you spend on each initiative. So let's break that down. The first initiative, which is overwhelmingly the biggest return of investment you'll get for finding a job, is using your network. And Lee, I know that you have some really great thoughts about networking. You want to go ahead and share those?
Yeah, I do. I think it is clearly represented by the size of the pie chart. But the fact of the matter is, I'll give you a specific case. My case, I started working in 1955, and from then till now, I've been unemployed a total of 4 hours in my life, and that was because I couldn't get through on my calls to the guy to get the next job. What you have to do, networking is something you have to work at all the time. I started networking when I was quite young in anticipation of someday needing to have those contacts. And so therefore, whenever I was in between jobs, so to speak, it just took a phone call. And that phone call resulted in a new opportunity. So I think you have to prepare your networking in advance. Now, you can't just do it to have a contact. They have to be real. They have to be not superficial relationships, but you've got to build those networks. Now, most of you know that I'm referred to as a LinkedIn zealot. I've got about 100,000 LinkedIn connections and followers from all over the world. And if I needed something, I could put my hands on it in a very short order. So in order to keep a job and keep it posted in your mind, you've got to make sure you've got the right contacts. If you don't have the right contacts, you got friends. So you've got to have people that can do things that'll help you and build those relationships and maintain them. The one time I was out of work for 4 hours, the guy I finally got the job from was somebody I worked for about 8 years prior, and just maintained those relationships, maintained those contacts, and built upon the work skills that we demonstrated in the job. And after that, it's real easy. My opinion is, and I don't know, I'm probably wrong. I don't know anybody that ever got a job from a want ad, and I don't know very many who gets them from recruiting people. And yeah, I think Sherry's going to talk a little bit about the recruiting issue. But the fact of the matter is, I think those are jobs in themselves, and they make a lot of money creating the illusion that they're going to find a job for you. I think the job will be found by you, and you got to do something to set that up.
All right. I agree. I agree. Let's talk about your pie. Another slice of your pie is actually looking at jobs online. But I think a lot of mistake that job seekers make is spending so much time and so much energy searching online for jobs. So I have some websites that I like. You can always check if you are employed. You can, of course, check your company for the jobs page. But it's important also to have a wish list of companies that you want to work for and check for those websites. And the reason is because the very first place that a company is going to advertise that they have a job opening is on their own website because it's free. It's free. It costs a lot of money for them to advertise on LinkedIn and Glassdoor and everywhere else for a job. So the first place they're going to advertise a job opening is on their website. So that's why one reason why you want to have a wish list of companies and make sure you check those career pages or job pages every single week. Another platform that I really like is Glassdoor, LinkedIn, and Indeed. So there are a lot of different job boards that aggregate all kinds of different jobs, and then they put it on their platform so that you go to their platform. So my team and I, we've done research every single year on which platforms we like the best. For project management jobs, people manager jobs, program manager jobs, director type positions, VP type positions, we really like Glassdoor, Indeed, and LinkedIn. So the easiest thing for you to do is just set up a job alert. You can go into all of these. You can set up a job alert, put in your criteria, and every time a job comes up, a new job comes up that matches your criteria, you get an email. So it makes it super, super simple to look for jobs that way. There's about 15% of jobs go towards niche job boards. So an example of niche job boards is like if you're in sales, Sales Gravy is a great site that has aggregates all kinds of sales jobs. Or if you want to be a project manager, a people manager in the media, radio, TV, advertising, Media Bistro is another great example. So what you want to do is I would encourage you to do a search and put in the industry. So you can put in IT or you can put in sales or healthcare, whatever it is. And then put a plus sign and then put the job title that you're looking for. It could be program manager, it could be team leader, people manager, whatever. And then put the plus sign and put job opening. So it's the industry plus the job title plus job opening, and see what comes up. You'll get a bunch of different niche job boards. And so I recommend including that on your search criteria and checking those job boards maybe once a week. Think about also kind of expanding yourself and opening yourself up to consulting jobs or freelance jobs or short-term jobs. So you can go to Accenture and you can put up a profile, and they have a ton of job openings right now for strategy, for director, for manager. I also like, you can see on here, I have, and let me see if I can change this view a little bit. There you go. So Accenture, I like Freelancer and Upwork. And so I pulled the numbers yesterday. So in Upwork, I did a search for project manager, and there are 873 job openings right now. So 873 companies right now are looking for a project manager. Now that could also be like product manager or program manager, but you get the point. And then Freelancer, I did a search yesterday. Freelancer, they have 3,460 job openings right now. So with Freelancer and Upwork, those are short term. Those might be 3 months. Those might be 6 months. But those are great sites because you can really get your foot in the door of a new company or a new industry and get yourself some new experience, expand a skill that you like?
I think that it's important to understand that criteria that Sherri referred to is very important. Otherwise, you're going to start getting job opportunities as brain surgeons. You have to identify what it is you're really looking for. Because remember, these people in these job categories, they just send out massive amounts of interested job characters, and if you haven't put the criteria in that weeds that out, you're going to get inundated with opportunities, which when you start to look at them aren't opportunities at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can, at least with Freelancer and Upwork, you can put in the key skills that you have. So you put in a profile, you put in the key skills that you have, and then companies can start contacting you through the job site. So it makes it really super simple to do. Let's just take a moment. Let me introduce and brag on my co-host here, Lee Lambert. If you don't know Lee, you're probably one of the few people in the universe. He's so well connected. He's such a guru and just a complete marketing project management whiz. I just grabbed part of your website here, but he's at lambertconsultinggroup.com. That's lambertconsultinggroup.com. He has a ton of training. I took training from Lee when he came out here in Scottsdale. So I took project management training from Lee, and he's just spectacular. There's so much different kinds of training out there for project management, and he's the real deal.
I think the training is going to be ultimately the difference. If you want to really be confident in being able to secure a position, you need to be out in front of the pack. You need to think about what can I do that will separate me from the rest of the crowd, and find out what that is. Maybe it's a training program, maybe it's a volunteer project that you need to get some experience on. Whatever it is, look at where the thing's going. Now, right now, of course, anything in AI, you're going to have a leg up on people because people haven't really caught on to that yet as to how important that's going to be. But right now, the big push is on leadership and communications. Gosh, guess what? Figure it out. That's what we should have been doing a long time ago. But if you've got people with those skill sets, those capabilities to effectively interact with lots of other people and get things done through other people. You see, for me, I'm not looking for a job. I mean, if I wanted to work, I'd go get a job. I want to be able to help other people get jobs and other people get work done. That way I don't have to work at all, but yet I keep busy because I'm helping other people find work. So it's important for you to polish your leadership skills, your communication skills. If you're not in Toastmasters, this is a big plus. Organizations are looking for people now who have, quote, graduated from the Toastmasters program, because there's a lot of people in this business of project management, especially, who really have no clue how to communicate. They've got all this good data, all this good information, but they don't know how to communicate it very well. So they're finding that it's not the quality of the information, oftentimes it's the quality of the delivery mechanism. And so you need to look at those areas where you need to strengthen your position so that you can separate yourself from the others. If you're just one of the group, then you may just get lucky and get a job, but generally speaking, it's going to be a lot more difficult.
Yeah. A little bit about me. I've written a couple books. I've been interviewed a few times. I'm president and CEO of Your Leadership Lab. And so I do coaching. I also do a lot of team workshops on what Leah's talking about. So I cover leadership and communications and really how to build your leadership brand so that you can go up in your career if you want to. You can become a thought leader in project management, or you can become a program manager or a director or a VP. That's where I help. I have about 20 years of corporate experience being a leadership coach, and also being growing myself from being a project manager to a program manager to a leadership coach. And right now on my website, if you're interested, I'm giving away a free personal leadership career scorecard. So you can grab that on my website today at yourleadershiplab.com. That's yourleadershiplab.com. Okay, so let's get into more information about how do you find and identify some career opportunities. So I want to talk a little bit about the black hole. One question that I get asked a lot is how come my resume is going through the black hole? And what I want to do right now is I just want to share a story. I just want to share, let me see if I can go into a different view. Let me see, can I go into a different view? Hold on 1 second. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so a lot of, if you're doing your resume, you've probably heard of the term keywords before. So let me tell you exactly what keywords are and what your keywords are so that you know how to use those keywords. So all companies, well, probably not all companies, but I'm going to say like 90% of companies have a tool that they use. It's called the Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. And a lot of times they have a job that they put out there on LinkedIn or whatever. They advertise, they get a lot of job candidates coming back, and they need a tool to actually sort through all of the resumes and vet out which resumes they're really interested in. So that tool is called the Applicant Tracking System, and it allows them to sort through resumes to find candidates with those skills that they really want. So a few years ago, I called up a VP of HR and I said to him, look, theoretically, I understand the ATS, the Applicant Tracking System, but I don't really get it. Can you demo it for me? So he just happened to be looking for a job candidate, and he had a job opening, and he had 100 applicants that came in. So he was going to use the tool to sort through all of the 100 job applications. And what he wanted was he wanted to get that number from 100 resumes down to about 30 resumes. And then he wanted to look through those 30 resumes to identify 5 or 6 job candidates that he would interview. So I can't remember exactly what he was sorting through, but let's say as an example, let's say he was looking for a program manager. That tool, when you open it up, it has 3 fields. And it allows you to put 3 words or phrases into the tool and the number of times you want those words or phrases in a resume. So as an example, if he was searching for, let's say, program manager, in that first field, he wrote program manager, and he picked the number 3 next to it. He wanted it to appear at least 3 times in the resume. Then he wrote down something like stakeholder management, and he probably put a 2 next to it. And then he probably wrote, maybe IT or something. And he wrote a number 1 next to it. It needed to be in the resume 1 time. And he hit sort. And it came back with 10 resumes out of the 100. It came back with 10 resumes. And he said, see, this is too few. He said that he wanted it to come back with 30 resumes out of the 100 so that he could search through himself the 30 resumes. So he went in and he manipulated the tool. So instead of saying program manager 3 times, he dropped it down to 2. And instead of saying stakeholder manager 2, he dropped it down to 1. And instead of saying IT 1, he just dropped it. And he hit search, and it came back with 30 resumes. And he got super excited. He goes, see, Sherri, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted 30 resumes. So I said, okay, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. But how am I supposed to know? And how am I supposed to teach others what your magic keywords are? And this is where he gave me golden advice that I want to share with you. So there are 2 ways to identify keywords in a job, in a job like application. And that is, number 1, look at the requirements section. So look at the requirements section, look at the first 4 or 5 skills that they list. That's a great indicator that those are going to be keywords that they search for using the applicant tracking system. The other way, and I thought this was so good, is, you know how in a job description, like they have these different sections. They have the overview section and the summary section and the qualification section and the requirement section. He said, read each of those sections. And if you see a skill appear in multiple sections, that's a great indicator that it's going to be a keyword. So let me share this with you now. That's how you identify your keywords. And that is, you're going to identify your keywords are basically your priority skills. So you're going to identify what those key skills are, or those keywords are, and then you're going to pepper them throughout your resume. You're going to pepper them throughout your resume. So maybe you put it in your experience section. Maybe you put it in your headline. Maybe you put it in your summary section. But you want to make sure that you have those key skills. Now, there's a big caveat, is that only put those skills that you actually have. So if he's asking, if you see a job description, a job opening for something in IT, and you don't have IT experience, don't put that you have IT experience, because that's not setting yourself up for success. Go with what you have. So out of those maybe 5, 6, 7 key skills, maybe you only have 5 of those skills. That's okay. Maybe you only have 4 of those skills. Maybe you only have 3 of those skills. That's okay. Go with it. Go with what you have. I've got multiple jobs when I missed the #1 requirement. When I went into HR for program manager, I didn't have any HR experience. So it's okay. Just go with what you have. So this is a great way for you to get more job interviews, so that your resume doesn't go into the black hole as much. Now, they may have tagged somebody already for the job, or maybe you don't have enough of the key skills. But if you use this formula, I guarantee you'll get more job interviews.
Yeah, let me make a point here too, Sherri. I think it's important. One of the things I've noticed in the technical world, especially, is that we end up putting a lot of what I call buzzwords. You may call them keywords, buzzwords in our resumes, because we know that's the area we're looking for the job in. I had this happen once early in my career for IBM. They were looking for someone to organize and teach a strategic project management course. Well, I didn't know strategic from any other thing. So I put in my requirements that I would do strategic this and strategic that. And so finally I designed the course, and first time I offered it, by the middle of the first day, they said, this is just a project management course, and it just says strategic every once in a while. You have to, it has to be real. I think Sherri made the point. If you don't have IT, don't say you're an IT genius. It won't take long before you're found out, and then that becomes a reputation. So you have a lot of things to worry about. And I think the point she's starting to talk about right now is the fact that many of the jobs, I don't know what a percentage is, many of the jobs have already got someone. They already have a candidate. They're going through what's called the process. They have to make it look like they're open to anybody who's qualified, when in fact their best buddy who they play golf with on Saturday is going to be in that job before you know it. So that, back to networking, big surprise. And so that's why people say, well, most of the big decisions are made on a golf course or made on a tennis court. That's true, because they're friends, they're networks, and they work that way together. So, don't get your hopes up in terms of a resume, in terms of a headhunter. It's going to just, I can't emphasize networking enough. Get busy. When you hang up this phone, go start networking with someone.
Nice. Okay. I agree. Okay. So another piece of your pie, and again, it's not a huge piece of your pie, but it is a piece of your pie, I recommend, is recruiters. So LinkedIn is the #1 place for recruiters, company recruiters, to go to find job candidates. And it is the absolute easiest way, I think, to get a job, is to be tapped by a recruiter who says, hey, I have a great job. Are you interested in applying? You want that to happen. You want that to be happening. So if that's not happening for you, let me give you a couple of tips. I was giving a leadership workshop in Kenya, in Nairobi, and there were 10 people around the table. And I asked them, I said, how did each of you get your job? Because they were pretty high profile jobs, and there aren't a lot of high profile jobs in Kenya. And I was just like really naturally curious. Well, out of those 10, 3 of them had been pinged by a recruiter on LinkedIn. 3 out of the 10. I found that fascinating. So the question is, how can you, let me go here. How can you?
Let me jump in again for just a second, Sherri,
Sure.
because now you mentioned LinkedIn, so I get all excited. Here's the thing. First of all, you have to get on LinkedIn and you have to spend time. I spend 3 hours a day minimum on LinkedIn, and I'm not looking for a job. But if I were, one of the things you can do is when you post on LinkedIn, and you should be posting, you must have some reason, some capability to post. Make your post be an inflection of your skill sets, so that when you post something, you're demonstrating you have a skill set. Because I agree, I get people call me probably 3-4 times a week based on what they read on one of my LinkedIn posts. Or would you be willing to? Are you open to? Would you re-go? So it's so important for you to spend the time creating a LinkedIn post that's relevant, and do it in a way that demonstrates where your skill sets are.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to talk about that even more, because that's one of the pieces of pie, is really talking about your skill set and your knowledge and your expertise. So awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So the question on the table, how can recruiters find you? A couple of things. So one thing is, think about what is a recruiter going to search for? And those are the key words that you want to have in your profile. So if you want a recruiter to contact you for project manager jobs or director jobs or program manager jobs, think about what is that recruiter going to search on. I did a search on LinkedIn for project manager, just in my network alone. This isn't even like all of LinkedIn, and it came back with 8,370 candidates. So the question is, how can you get to the top of the list? That's the question on the table. How can you get on the top of the list of the search results for recruiters who are recruiting for jobs that you want? So the first thing that you have to do is you have to put those keywords in your profile. So if you want to be known for director jobs or program manager jobs, you've got to use that. Use it in your headline, use it in your summary, use it in your professional experience. Pepper those keywords throughout your LinkedIn profile. And I gave, let me show you this. This is an example. So this is my profile. I'm not looking for a job right now, but I just wanted to use it. So these are the 3 areas. If you have the keyword, whether it's director, whether it's program manager, whether it's IT strategy, whatever the keywords that you want to use are, you get almost like double points if you put it in your headline, because LinkedIn's like, oh, she's serious. She really is IT strategy or whatever it is. So that's how you should use your headline. I can't tell you how many LinkedIn profiles I've seen where they use their headline to say something like, I'm a dad and I'm out to change the world, and you're wasting valuable space there. Another thing, let me see. Another thing is what Lee is talking about. The second thing that you have to do. So the first thing is you have to have the right keywords that recruiters are looking for. And the second thing is LinkedIn likes it when we're active. LinkedIn likes it when we're active. So it's almost like they give you, let's say, a gold star. A gold star when you come on and you do something. So you could post something. You could like somebody's post, share somebody's post. You could write an article. You could change or update your profile. You can even change one word of your profile. So it doesn't have to be a big activity that you do. But you need to come on, and I recommend at least twice a week, and be active. That's how LinkedIn is going to like you. So it's doing those two things. Before we go to the final strategy that we want to go on, I just want to mention that once recruiters find you, that doesn't mean they're still going to contact you. So you've got to stand out. You've got to stand out by showing that you've made impact with each of the organizations that you've been in. And the way you do that is talking about the results that you've given to the company in terms of dollars, numbers, and percentages. So quantifiable results. So as an example, you don't just want to say that you led 3 different programs in IT. You want to talk about the size, the scope. You want to talk about you led teams up to 20 people each of business analysts and strategists and tech people. You want to talk about the scope. Maybe it was a $1 million program. Maybe it was a $3 million program. Maybe it was a $500,000 program. Talk about dollars, numbers, percentages, and use those metrics that you're measuring for project management and program management. Use those metrics in your professional experience section. That's what's going to get the attention of recruiters, and that's what's going to want to make them reach out to you. So the final strategy is, Lee, what you were talking about is, putting on LinkedIn, maybe it's other social media, but I like LinkedIn because it's the #1 business networking site. That's just why I like it. Is talking about your knowledge. Do you want to, any final tips or final thoughts that you have about, showing your expertise, getting out there?
Yeah, I think what you pointed out, it needs to be quantified. I ran a really good program. That doesn't do much. But if you say how long it was, how many people were involved, how big the budget was, things that technically they could actually verify if they chose to. But you've got to be specific that way. Now, right now, just as a heads up to you, if you're gonna prepare for the future, go out and learn all about Chat GPT. That's the new AI system that's just taking the world by storm. And they're going to be looking for people that know what the heck that's all about. I can say it, so I'd put that as a keyword in my resume because I know how to say it. But if you knew what it really did, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to focus on those kinds of things that are going to be out there and be looked at by people who are looking for those specific sets of skills.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, that's it. That takes it to the bottom of our hour. This was PM Power with Sherri Thomas and Lee Lambert. We're going to be here every single Tuesday at this time. And this show was recorded, so we will be sending out the link soon within the next 24 hours. So thanks, everybody, for joining. And hope to see you. Thank you, Lee. Honor to be with you, my friend. Always an honor and a pleasure to be with you. And I always learn from you. So great. Okay.
Thanks. It was very great. I hope people feel like they've gotten some benefit from spending 30 minutes with the two of us.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so too. All right. Thanks, everyone.